Greetings, bat fans and brick fans. Welcome back to Bat Brick 39. I know I haven't posted a video in a while, but I figured it was time, even though this isn't quite finished. This is a work in progress. If you are a fan of history or the Northern Virginia area, you may recognize George Washington's Mount Vernon. As I said, work in progress, not quite finished, but I figured I'd show you all where I'm at. Partly just because I haven't made a video in a while, and partly to get some ideas and some feedback from any of you. So if you've ever visited, you should recognize some of the buildings here. On the left, we have the overseer's office, the servants' quarters, which are not quite finished. On the right side, the kitchen, and I believe what was the clerk's office. And of course, in the center is the mansion. Some of the distinguishing features up top, the Dove of Peace, the cupola, it's referred to as the bullseye window, and the front door. If you'll notice, the center part, using masonry bricks. The sides, I haven't acquired quite enough masonry bricks yet, so I'll have to get some more. As you know, this is not easy to find, and they are a little expensive, but hey, it's a long-term project. And here we have General George Washington himself, handing off a map to someone, probably Alexander Hamilton. And of course, a few animals around. So let's take a look inside some of the buildings. My intent is, from the front, you see it just as it is, and then the back of each of the buildings is going to be more of a cutaway. The clerk's office, over here, mostly finished, just haven't finished the roof. Need to get some more of the dark red slopes, or may decide to see if I can do that with plates. Under the clerk's office, there is a paint cellar where they store paint, as you might guess. And move it along, probably the most finished of the outer buildings so far, the kitchen, where they did the cooking. And we have the spit rods there where they would put through meat and cook it slowly inside the oven. Area where they would store meat and fish. A little bit of trivia, they had a large chain with a net on it that would go across the Potomac River, and supposedly it could get over 1 million fish a year out of the Potomac. So I guess they ate fish a lot. The area up here, this will be where some of the servants or the enslaved persons will be sleeping, so I'll have to add some beds and some other people in there too. At the real Mount Vernon, there's a colonnade that goes right here in between the buildings, so I'll have to add that in, kind of a curved, covered walkway. And first up inside is Washington's office. There's a fan chair, which is still there today. You can push a lever with your foot and it would actually fan you. There's a bust of George Washington up in the corner, and a few things like surveying equipment from his time as a surveyor, bookshelves, as he was an avid reader, globe, and a few other things. Moving over, the main dining room, also in green. One of the things I ran into is that several of the buildings inside of Mount Vernon, several of the rooms inside the mansion are different colors, so I wound up having to make walls double thick in order to get them the right color, but it was worth it. And diagonal tiles, just like in the real one, not easy to do, but I found a video on YouTube that shows how to do it. In the main hallway, a little souvenir in the corner, that's the key to the Bastille, which was given to Washington as a gift by the Marquis de Lafayette. As you know, the Bastille, the storming of that was the beginning of the French Revolution, so that was quite a keepsake. Very important. I think this is called the small parlor. There's a harpsichord. It's not a piano, it's called a harpsichord. A little brick-built easy chair there, or an armchair. And what was referred to as Washington's favorite room, the new room, because apparently this was the last one to be built on. This was used for celebrations, dancing, and general entertainment. You have a picture of a boat up there at the real Mount Vernon. There are quite a few portraits of boats, owing to the fact that Washington felt that the rivers of the United States would be very important in the development of the country. It's referred to as the Palladium window, or Palladium, I can't remember. And this room goes the entire height of the house. Going down, there's the cellar. The cellar at Mount Vernon is the full length of the house, so I had to make sure I was building it the whole way. If you've ever seen the movie National Treasure 2, the part where he kidnaps the president, it is the cellar of Mount Vernon where he takes him down and supposedly finds a secret tunnel. There is not a real secret tunnel. I've been down there and through tours, there is not, but they do have what they call a National Treasure tour of Mount Vernon. Moving upstairs, there's the Lafayette bedroom, because Marquis de Lafayette, as pictured here, was a frequent visitor. And it is kind of an off-white or tan with a blue trim, so I tried to recreate that as closely as I could. One thing I was very happy with overall in there was the way the floors came out using the alternating tiles. Really adds a lot to the look with the wood. And there's what I believe is called the Nellie Custis bedroom. Blue with kind of a light blue trim. And then of course, George Washington's bedroom himself, referred to as the Washington bedroom. This is where he passed away in 1799. He got sick, I believe. Went out it was sometime in December, went out in the weather, was wet, didn't change out his wet clothes, came down with I forget what it's called, and then died a few days later. Okay. Upstairs, there's one of the lumber rooms. There are actually two lumber rooms, one on each side in the attic. There's sort of a smaller guest room. And this is supposed to be Washington's Commander-in-Chief flag that he used when he was a general. It's not actually in there, I just wanted to include that somewhere. I might take that out. And we have steps. Really happy with how this came out. Brick-built steps leading up into the cupola. The cupola with the double piece was the last part of the house to be built. Again, late 1780s, 1790s, somewhere in there. And over on the side, there's the servants' quarters, and I believe what was referred to as the overseer's office. Those have not been completed anywhere near. I still need to work on the roof. Some little details I'm really happy with. As I mentioned earlier, the palladium window, the drain pipe. Let's see what else. The lightning rods, which were suggested by Brent Franklin, being a bit of an expert on lightning. So that's George Washington's Mount Vernon so far. Again, not even close to finished. You see the carriage circle in the center. Still need to add a lot more green and then figure out what to do for the dirt or rock carriage circle around it. But overall, yeah, pretty happy about how it's coming. It is, I believe, let's see, 80 plus 16, so 112 studs across by, I believe, another 80 studs deep. Yeah. So if you have any comments, any suggestions, definitely like to hear them. Until then, next time, you've been listening to Bat Brick 39. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe.